Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name's Jen, and in today's video I'm going to share with you exactly how I filled up this tree ring full of compost and great garden soil and mulch for flowers. And then I'm going to transplant in my very first flower starts for a cut flower garden. Let's get right into it. This video is the second video in a playlist I'm making about cut flower gardening in Florida. In the first video I talked through how I chose which flowers to plant, and then I started the seeds. And I also shared my original plan for where I was going to put this cut flower garden. It was going to be on the far side of my fence, and it was going to be rectangular in shape. However, I didn't have the space ready at the time, and after talking with my husband came up with a great idea to make a tree ring around our palm tree in the backyard and put our cut flower garden beneath the palm tree. So in this video right here, I talked through how I made that DIY retaining wall brick tree ring. Now it's time to fill that tree ring up with compost, garden soil, and mulch and transplant my flowers in. My cut flower starts are ready to go in. Some of them probably past the point of being ready to go in, so we've got to get this done today. Let me briefly share with you the new plan for how I'm going to lay out this cut flower garden. You can see the diameter of my tree ring is about 10 feet. I have a keep out zone close to the tree where the tree roots were mounded up, and I want to kind of make sure I leave enough room for those tree roots, so I'm going to leave about a foot of space. Then I'm going to start with the tallest flower. The tallest flower is amaranth. Then just outside the amaranth, I'm going to plant celosia. The celosias are already blooming, and I'm really not sure how much taller they're going to get, but I'm going to put them in this order anyway and see what happens. After the celosias, I'm going to move on to zinnias. These are a key lime pie variety of zinnias, so it's a chartreuse and white color, which should look really cool against those hot pink and white celosias and the dark burgundy amaranth. I'm really excited about that. Now I will say some of the zinnias, it's like the lower leaves were dying off, but I'm still going to transplant them and hope they improve. After planting the zinnias, I'm going to do a circle of milkweed, and then following that I'm going to do a circle of impatiens right next to the retaining wall brick. Now after looking at my starts, I can tell the impatiens were probably not a good cut flower choice, but this is my very first cut flower garden, so we're just going to go with it and wait for these to bloom and see what it looks like. This is a learning process, so I'm expecting some of this to not go as planned. But if you want to follow along with this experiment and see my potential bouquets at the end, hit that subscribe button right now. Now let me share with you how I filled up the tree ring with compost, soil, and mulch. The first thing I did when I filled the tree ring was lay down a light layer of cardboard. The reason I did the cardboard was to try to suppress any weeds that might pop through. Then I added a whole bunch of organic compost. I had gone earlier in the day to a place called Simply Organic Lawn and Garden in Melbourne, Florida, where they sell bulk organic compost. One of my subscribers actually recommended that I go to this place, and it worked out really well. It was a great price, and it seems like the compost is really good quality. I filled up my husband's truck bed for only like $25. Of course, on the way home, I blew a tire, and so even though I saved money on compost, I had to spend the money on a new tire for the truck. When I added all of that compost to the tree ring, I still needed something more because it wasn't quite full enough, so I went to the store and I picked up some garden soil and I added a few bags of that. And on top of that, I added a little bit of plant tone fertilizer just to make sure that it was a really nutrient-dense area for my flowers. And then I added mulch on top. Now let's get into transplanting the flowers. All right, first we're gonna start with amaranth. I have planted them and then I thinned them out so you can see the old starts that were there. But each cell right now has one amaranth. So this is 8 plants of amaranth. So first I'm gonna probably just lay them out in their approximate spots, and then I'll plant them. Now I'll do exactly the same thing, but with celosia. So I think I have 12 celosia plants. You can see they're already blooming. Some of them are this nice hot pink. I've even got some white ones in there. So I think it's gonna look pretty cool. Let me take a minute to show you why I packed the soil the way I did in the seed starting cell, and that's just because when it comes time to pull it out, if you packed your soil pretty well, it comes out like a nice little block and it's not falling apart. Now it's time to do the zinnias, and I'll be honest, some of them don't look so great. they're just heavy drinkers. They were drinking a lot of water, and I think I let them dry out on accident, but you can see some of these leaves have already like fallen off. This one in particular, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to salvage this zinnia, so I'm gonna put it on the back side. And I'll keep the nice looking ones on this side so that that's what I see from my lanai. The way that I'm putting them in the ground is just using my bare bones hori knife and digging a nice hole and transplanting that in and pushing the compost and the soil back around it and the mulch on top. So like I've done with the other flowers, I'm gonna lay out the zinnias where I want them to be, and then I'll plant them. This is another one that was getting quite tall, so I put a little, it's just a skewer actually, like a barbecue skewer for support, and I can change it to a bamboo stake as the zinnia grows. Next up, milkweed. Now it's time for the last flower. This one is Impatiens. I did lose a few starts. You can see these empty cells right here, so I'm just gonna work with what I've got and put those in the garden. I'm also not sure that they're even gonna work as a cut flower because they're really not very tall. So we'll see what happens. After I finish transplanting these, we're gonna water it in. This is so many transplants. I'm getting so tired, but we're almost done. This is the last flower. I mean, the last type of flower. I still have to do like 18 of them. Let's water them in. I'm done transplanting all the flowers. Let's take a look. Let me know in the comments below if you like how it turned out, and if you've had experience doing a cut flower garden in Florida, I'd love to know what you're planting right now. I'm a little skeptical about how some of these are going to turn out, and so I'm probably going to start sowing seeds for more flowers sometime this week. Hit that subscribe button to follow along and join me for making bouquets as soon as these flowers are ready. See you next time, guys.